Yeah, I think it's going to be grappling heavy early, but I know that Khabib and Islam are very smart, and I don't think that they're going to spend too much time trying to shove a square peg through a round hole. I think that playing for 25 minutes on the ground with Charles Oliveira, I don't care how good you are. Y- Unless he gasses, which he doesn't do, unless you can get him to break or kind of mentally wilt, which he hasn't done in a long time, and he's been in some really bad spots. It, I don't think it's safe to play that game with him for too long. Like Islam is not a jiu-jitsu wizard. They're grappling in positional nightmares. I just don't think I don't think it's safe. I'm not saying he's not possible. I just don't
No,
think it's
no.
safe. I think that Charles Oliveira is going to be hard to hold down. I think he's going to be harder to hold down than they expect he is because he doesn't give a shit about the jiu-jitsu game because he's so good. So he's willing to get himself into weird scrambles and get back to his feet. Islam is going to have to fight him in the clinch because that's kind of his game. It's a lot of clinch takedowns, just like Khabib. Khabib wasn't the double leg, single leg guy. He was the run you into the fence and then trip up your legs and drag you down. I don't know how long you want to play with that game with Charles Oliveira. He's very, very good and very dangerous in the clinch. And I think he does his best grappling / wrestling in those clinch body lock situations because he can get to your back so fast. So I'm not saying Oliveira is going to go through and he's going to smoke him. I just think that where Oliveira is best is also where Islam is best. So it's not like he's taking advantage of a weakness by grappling and wrestling in the clinch and playing that game on the fence. Remember the Moicano fight? Was it Moicano? Islam fought, I think it was Moicano. But they got into some pretty crazy grappling exchanges. And I think Moicano got his back one time. He was able to get a takedown. Like he held his own. And I hold Charles Oliveira at much higher regard on the ground than Moicano. And that guy's a world champion.
And rightly so.
Like crazy exchanges, which I think favors Oliveira because that gives him an opportunity to get back to his feet. And he's kind of an opportunistic grappler who's grabbing shit in transitions. If Islam's going to win, though, I truly believe he's going to have to slow him down. He's going to have to get a takedown. He's going to have to slowly, methodically work on passing his guard. He's going to have to keep him flat on his back. It's going to have to be boring because if he starts getting too herky-jerky and gives him too much space, Oliveira's going to recover his guard. He's going to start throwing up submissions on the submission defense. He's the type of guy that's going to turtle to his knees and come up to his feet, fight the grip, get his back to the fence, and then we start all over again.
It's hard to say because we've never really seen Islam under pressure with striking. And Charles has the ability to do that. He's so offensive. He's 100% offense, which is really exciting to watch. The question is going to be, can he take Charles down, and can he be able to apply that pressure and break him? Because if Charles is as aggressive as I think he's going to be, it's going to be difficult for Islam to close the distance, which makes things trickier. If it's not that simple of an equation, so I think it's a really exciting fight. Man, I would lean towards Islam, but not by much, like by a hair.
I favor Charles. I like the way he fights. I like his jiu-jitsu and everything. But in the other side, you got a guy that is dominant, similar to Khabib. So we'll see. He's been proving he's real. He's a real deal. So, but in the way I like how people fight, I like Charles the most.
Charles Oliveira. I think Charles Oliveira gets the job done. I think Islam, not that he's not great, not that he is not highly touted, not that he is not going to be a future champion, but there should be no reason why he should ever be a favorite in that fight against Charles Oliveira. What Charles Oliveira has done over the last couple fights, finishing everybody that he's fighting, is nothing short of amazing. The resurgence of Charles Oliveira's career from relatively unknown, somewhat up and down, can't be relied upon journeyman to now legitimate #1 lightweight on the planet has been something to behold. So put some respect on Charles Oliveira's name. I think Charles Oliveira goes out there, and I honestly think he finishes him.
I probably would have to. It's so tough. So Islam, we know he's a really good wrestler, strong for the weight class. Oliveira can wrestle also, and his stand-up is great. His jiu-jitsu is really good. So it's going to be a thing if Islam can take him down, trap his wrist up, fatigue him, break him. But it's so tough to bet against Oliveira right now. So if I'm betting, I'm going Oliveira.
I don't know. I think Charles is going to move forward. I don't see, Islam's going to try, and eventually he might be successful. And if he is, he'll win. But I don't see, I don't see him tiring him out. Even if he takes him down for the first 2 rounds, I don't see Charles being getting submitted, and I don't see him being too exhausted to continue to fight the fight that he needs to fight.
And that's a fight that is very intriguing. I still believe Oliveira can get a win because of the striking, because the pressure that he does, the jiu-jitsu. People saying, oh, the sambo. Yeah, I got it, but Oliveira is huge for that division. I took a picture with that guy, and that guy is bigger than me. I was looking like, bro, you're big. And he said I'm like, I get up to 190, and I say, wow.
I've trained with them. I see what those guys do. I see how good Islam is on the ground. Like, it's another level than a lot of these guys think. And it's, there's jiu-jitsu, then there is Dagestani jiu-jitsu. It's like a lot tougher, a lot stronger. And I feel like a lot of the guys that Charles has fought recently, they all wanted to strike with him. They all wanted to bang with him. And a lot of them didn't want to go to the ground with him. As you saw with Gaethje, who dropped him and didn't want to go in his guard. Islam's going to be wanting to take you down. Islam's going to want to get on top of you, ground and pound you, stay on top, not be afraid to go to the ground with you. And the last guy who did that was Paul Felder, who wasn't afraid to go to the ground with him, and he finished him on top with elbows. And I think the ground and pound that Islam brings, the submission game that he brings, I think it's going to be a long night for Charles.
This is a matchup for the fans because not a lot of people have been able to keep Makhachev off the top of him. He's been able to take him down and just keep him there like a blanket, heavy weighted blanket. When it comes to Oliveira, you're not going to really be able to do that. He might be able to keep him there, but he's going to be on defense the whole time. So I think that we're going to see a lot of mixture. We're going to see a mixed martial arts fight in that one. You're going to see groundwork and stand up equally. And I think that what I really like about it is you're going to see somebody test the stand up of Makhachev. If I'm going to favor somebody, I would probably have to go with Makhachev on that one, just because I think that he's got the best option to also win a decision. And the reason I say that is if they're fighting on the feet and then Makhachev gets a takedown, he can ride him out. If he can stay out of the submission threats of Oliveira, he can still win a decision by riding the top, staying safe, ground and pound. So he can, if it's, let's say it's even on the feet, Makhachev takes him down and stays out of submissions, that gives Makhachev all the control, which could essentially win him the decision. So I think he has a better option for winning a decision or getting a finish, whereas Oliveira mostly has the better odds for getting a finish, but maybe not winning the decision.